The Vancouver Canucks spoiling the party in Seattle as the Kraken lose their first ever game on home ice at the Climate Pledge Arena. It wasn't a walk in the park, but they get the job done. Bo Horvat leading the way, and a late goal from Connor Garland wins it. We've got a fun one to break down here, folks. Let's do it. So we get Thatcher Demko and Philip Grubauer in between the pipes for this one against the Kraken that the Canucks end up pulling out 4-2, but let's go through this game. Notes for this one, same lineup as last game, much to the chagrin of some Canucks fans, meaning Vasily Podkolzin still out of the lineup, Alex Chason still in the lineup, and it looked for a while like that might not be a great thing for this team, but they go out and they get the win nonetheless. Let's break this game down, then we'll get to our game pucks, our pluses and minuses, and of course, your thoughts on the game as we move on here on a lovely Saturday night. In the first period, Canucks got a first power play of the game with about 7 minutes into the first period. Jared McCann, former Canuck, taking a penalty. Power play looked okay on this one, but it got killed off. Still no shots for the Canucks, and that did end up being sort of the theme of the power play early on in this one. But then Juho Lammikko takes an offensive zone hooking penalty with just 3 minutes to play. So the Canucks had a solid period up to this point, 3 minutes to go in the first period as Lammikko goes to the box, and then a lot of chances for Seattle. They pour on the pressure. The power play looks dangerous, and then the power play comes to an end. Lammikko comes out of the box, and the Canucks cannot get out of the zone. So it's about 3 whole minutes of pressure in the Canucks zone, and it's Vince Dunn who scores from a point shot, 3.2 seconds to go in the first. Seattle ended up having the last 7 shots of the period to make it 12-9, the shots in the first period for Seattle. So Vince Dunn, first goal in Climate Pledge Arena history, and it looks like Seattle's off to a nice early start. But we go to the second period, Kraken controlling play early on, but they do take a penalty. Connor Garland gets tripped by Soucy, one of 2 bad penalties that Soucy took, and then this power play was abysmal. Power play 1 goes out, they get nothing going on. Quinn Hughes takes a penalty on a reverse hit, kind of an iffy call, but no shots for either side on either of these power plays. And then it looks like Alex Wenberg is going to open things up, make it 2-0, wrap around on a wide open net. But Thatcher Demko, one of the first of his many phenomenal saves tonight, a huge push to his right. He gets his pad down on it, keeps it a 1-goal game. The Canucks at this point went over 16 minutes without getting a shot on goal. That's almost an entire period of hockey where most teams get about 10, 11 shots in a period. They go 16 minutes without a shot. The Kraken get 14 straight shots, but then a Connor Garland steal. He feeds Bo Horvat, who beats Philip Grubauer 5-hole to tie it at 1. And the Connor Garland machine just spinning up. Bo Horvat, the first of his 2 goals tonight there. But then the Kraken come back, a huge chance as Calle Jarnkrok has a rebound. Looks like he has a wide open net. And once again, it's Thatcher Demko sliding over, robbing him with 4.5 to go there. Mason Appleton gets a breakaway. His shot sneaks through Thatcher Demko, but he ends up diving back, literally pulls it off of the goal line, sweeps it away with his glove. And then the Canucks go to the power play, 2 to go. Besser on power play 1 at this point. Looks like they're trying to liven things up. Chason not getting the job done. A few good chances on this one. They get a couple of shots, but the Kraken survive. We are tied at 1 after 2. So we go to the third period, and the Seattle Kraken break the deadlock. It's Mark Giordano, the captain, takes a shot. It ramps off of the stick of Kyle Burrows. Tough for Thatcher Demko. It flutters in over his glove to make it 2-1. The Canucks then almost make it a 2-goal lead with 10 minutes to play. Or the Kraken almost make it a 2-goal lead. 10 minutes to play as Yanni Gourde cuts right through the crease, gets his own rebound, hits the crossbar. So Canucks staying alive here, but they go to a much-needed power play. 7.5 minutes to go. Another Carson Soucy penalty. This time Lammikko drawing one, and then right off the bat, it's a give and go. Quinn Hughes to JT Miller, back to Quinn Hughes. A rocket from the point is stopped, but the rebound, the juicy rebound, falls right onto the stick of Bo Horvat, who pots his second of the night to even it up. So the Kraken obviously want to come back. They're down. We're now tied at 2. They want to win it from their home crowd. So they come in and they put the pressure on. And this is probably the worst shift we've ever seen Elias Pettersson play at this point in the game with about 7 minutes to go. Two bad giveaways. Canucks get trapped in their own zone. It looks like it's a matter of time before the Kraken put one in, and we're talking about a loss here. And then a clear ends up in a foot race. Connor Garland against a Kraken defenseman. Connor Garland blows by him, and then the slap shot that he goes for, he winds up, sort of fakes it, like slows down right before he hits the puck, and then goes through. It just makes Grubauer wait that extra quarter of a second. It beats him 5-hole. Canucks on top 3-2. Connor Garland is so good. We'll get to that in our pluses and minuses. Kraken send Grubauer to the bench with 1:15 to go. Seemed kind of late, but a flip pass. JT Miller hoists one in the air. A little alley-oop to Justin Dowling, who walks it in and makes it 4-2 as the Vancouver Canucks take this one and end up going 3-2-1 on the road trip. So a bad start to the road trip, kind of a mediocre start to the road trip, then a really bad game in Buffalo. They come out, they make up for it in the game against Chicago. Kind of played rough tonight at times. It was a really streaky game, but they went out and they still got the win regardless. Now, I'm going to try to pull up some messages as we go here. I did not have this part set up, but we will get there, folks. Let's pull that up. Let's go into our pluses and minuses. And while we do this, of course, you guys can give me your thoughts here in the live comments chat. Nearly 100 people in here already. Love that you guys are hanging out with me tonight on this post game. So leave your thoughts on the game, your opinions, your questions, all that good stuff, and we will get to those. Now, the pluses. The first plus here is Connor Garland. He has points in every game as a Vancouver Canuck. 6 games, 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points in 6 games as a member of the Vancouver Canucks. And it's not like he's going out and he's getting some second assists and, he's getting a couple points here and there just off of some lucky bounces and he tipped a shot in once and things like that. No, Connor Garland is an absolute game changer on the ice every single night. Canucks down a goal here. He makes a really nice play to win a battle, get the puck to Bo Horvat, who scores. Canucks are tied late in the third period. He goes out, he wins a foot race, he wins a battle, and he scores a goal when he needs to. Connor Garland with an absolutely phenomenal outing in this game. My next plus is Bo Horvat being the captain in this game. Mark Giordano goes out and is the captain for the Kraken, gets a big goal for his team. Bo Horvat answers with a big goal for his team. 2 huge goals tonight. The reason that the Canucks stayed in this game were those 2 goals. So Bo Horvat, a big plus tonight. And the biggest one is it's Thatcher Demko. This contract, Thatcher Demko is criminally underpaid already. He is 6 games into a 5-year contract, and he is criminally underpaid. $5 million for this year and the next 4, and he is one of the best goalies, a top 10 most likely goalie in the NHL. And it was just one of those nights that he wasn't going to let anything past him. The Dunn shot, sure, he got beat there. The Giordano shot sort of ramped off a stick, but when he needed to make big saves, there was the 2 that he just had to lunge, cross crease, basically do the splits on. Absolutely phenomenal game from Thatcher Demko. And then my last plus is the Canucks did have some stretches of dominance. It was a very streaky game, like I mentioned. The Kraken had big stretches, that whole 16 minutes, for example, where the Canucks couldn't get anything done. The Kraken were piling on pressure, but the Canucks did the exact same thing to them, right? There were stretches for, 3 minutes in the offensive zone where they were just cycling the puck and not letting anything happen for the Seattle side. So it was a really weird game. It was a game that felt like both teams dominated for different periods of it. It didn't feel like it was that even the whole way through. So kind of weird in that regard, but the Canucks still come out on top. Let's go to the minuses. First one, the Lamico penalty that he took, that killed the momentum, that sort of ended up leading to that Vince Dunn goal early on. The Canucks had all the momentum late in the first period, and then he takes that penalty in the offensive zone. The one place you can't take penalties is in the offensive zone. There's no threat of you getting scored on in that case, so a penalty is just entirely negative. You're not saving any goals. And that allowed Seattle to build up momentum and sort of indirectly led to that Vince Dunn goal. But the bigger minus in this game was Elias Pettersson. And we have talked about Elias Pettersson, throughout the first few games and all these post-game shows. And every time I've said, I'm not too worried. He hasn't played too bad and he's skilled enough that I'm not too concerned. But tonight it was his worst game I think that we've seen him play in a long time. Puck just wasn't on his stick. It wasn't working for him. A lot of bad giveaways. I'd actually be curious to see what the official stat is on his giveaways. They actually don't have any giveaways credited to Pettersson on the game sheet, which is really surprising because there was clearly 2 on the same shift. So whoever the official scorer is there missed a couple, it looks like. But again, we're 6 games in. He hadn't played since March. He's going to get back to Elias Pettersson levels. It just needs to be quick. Otherwise, this team might be in trouble. Let's get to our game pucks. For this one, for the Vancouver Canucks, I got 2. Normally, I try to give it to my player of the game. No, I have 3. I don't have 2. I have 3 because all of them were equally fantastic. The obvious one, Thatcher Demko, was the second star in arena. I don't know how many shots they had. Was it like, how many shots do they have? 31 shots, so he saved 29 of 31, some of them being absolutely phenomenal saves. And the Canucks don't play again till Tuesday, the home opener. Expect Thatcher Demko to start that one. Of course, no reason to go to Halak in the home opener. Bo Horvat gets a game puck for me. The 2 goals, 2 game-tying goals in this game that the Canucks needed. But the biggest one, Connor Garland, is just such a game changer on the ice. So he gets my 3rd game puck in this one. Let's go to, I think that's everything we got. Let's go to your thoughts. Actually, I do want to take a quick look at the standings while we are here. This game puts the Canucks comfortably in 3rd place in the Pacific Division. If you go by points percentage, they are in 4th. Edmonton is 5-0. San Jose is 4-0. Calgary's 2-1-1 with 5 points, and Vancouver's 3-2-1 with 7 points. Calgary technically ahead in points percentage because the Canucks have played 2 more games. Seattle is 1-4-1 to start their inaugural season. So a tough start for Seattle. And upcoming games, home opener in Vancouver against the Minnesota Wild on Tuesday is the big one. I think they play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday again next week. All right, let's get to your questions. We've got a lot of them. I've got a long list to go through, so get your questions in now. I'm going to put a cutoff in the chat fairly soon because I want to keep this around 45 minutes at the most. So as we have a lot of comments, lots of questions, we don't want to spend too much time on all of these. We'll start with Aisha giving us her 3 stars of the game, Garland, Bo, and Thatcher. And I think that is just the easiest choice we'll ever see. Ryan giving a shout out to the fake move by Connor Garland. Parker White saying, Demko amazes me sometimes. Holy, we owe him this game. Or I don't know exactly how you'd word that, but plus Garland is becoming one of my favorites. We have Antonio saying Demko. We have a bunch of people just shouting out Garland, Demko, and all of the above basically there. Let's scroll through here. Aisha then saying every game Garland gets better and better. I love this guy. Yeah, he's a player that Canucks fans are just going to continue to love forever, as long as he's in a Canucks uniform, because he can definitely take over a game. We're going to just scroll. Hegum saying Jim should get GM of the year just for getting Garland. Yeah, well, I mean, that trade is looking really good so far, of course, with the only caveat for that trade is the Oliver Ekman-Larsson contract and how well it ages. But for right now, Connor Garland is such an absolute stud. We have a question here from Fangirl, courtesy of Adam. What do you see happening with Podkolzin and why is he not playing? So he's not playing because the Canucks won last game. And he probably won't play on Tuesday because the Canucks won tonight. Unless they want the energy in the home opener. I could see that as well. Because, I mean, how many minutes did Chason play tonight? Chason played 10 minutes and 40 seconds tonight. Highmore played 12:35. Lamico played 10:28. So these are guys who you could pretty feasibly pull out of the lineup, put a guy like Podkolzin in. I don't think he's going to get sent down or anything. I think he's going to get some play time. Next time the Canucks lose, he'll get slotted in right after the next game. Lincoln is a believer in Elias Pettersson. He had a slow start last year, but turned on later. Sure, that is fair. The thing is, as we look at this Canucks team and how they're constructed, we've always said for the last couple months here that the Canucks are going to be a team that's in the mix for the playoffs, and you need your best players to contribute. I mean, at one point we saw a line of Miller, Besser, and Dowling out on the ice in the last 10 minutes of the hockey game. If that is your solution to score a goal while you're down one late in the third period, that's kind of scary, considering, especially when you consider, the top nine picture that we had put together, and we're like, wow, this top nine looks really good. We didn't expect to see Justin Dowling in it, as basically taking up a prime spot in the top six there at times. Steel Dog, Seattle is going to be a very good rival. Yeah, everything sort of pointed to Seattle being a good hockey town tonight. Their arena looks sweet. I love that it's below ground. I love the glass and the people watching from outside. Super cool vibe there. The crowd seemed to be really involved. All the hits, you heard the cheering. A madhouse in there from all accounts that we saw online from everyone who was in the arena. And John Shorthouse from the commentator booth was mentioning that a lot, how excited the fan base seemed. So yeah, as this game kept going, the physicality ramped up, the little animosity heated up. It's definitely going to be a real fun season series. I don't think they play again till December 27th, and that'll be in Vancouver, but then they also play again a few days later on January 1st. So a chance to maybe brew a little bit of hunger and anger between those two games there. Agam saying 3-2-1 on a road trip is very good. Yeah, it is. And it's a road trip that could have gone the other way, right? The Canucks could have been 1-4-1 after that Buffalo game. They had a chance to lose this one, right? Down a goal with just over 7 minutes to play before Horvat scored his goal. So that would have made it 2-3-1 on the road trip, which you would have said not ideal, right? But 3-2-1, Canucks come out with 7 points in 6 games. If the Canucks can keep up 7 points in 6 games as a pace all season, that's a 95-point pace, and it'll make the playoffs. So yeah, it was a road trip, so you want to gather some points there, and being close to 500 on the road is pretty good. However, it was a road trip against some pretty bad teams: Detroit, Chicago, Seattle's 1-3-1 at this point. But they went out, and I think they did the job. They got the job done on this road trip. They made it tough on themselves after the first couple of games, but they came through and came out on top. And now they get a 2-day rest before coming home against Minnesota, and hopefully they can get something going on this homestand. Marcus saying, especially the first half of the game, did this lead in from something? I don't think it did. We didn't deserve the win, but played well considering the first home game in Seattle. Yeah, this was a game that I was worried about because, sure, on paper, Seattle hasn't looked good. And it seems like a team that the Canucks should be able to beat. However, it is the first game in that Seattle arena. The Canucks are at the end of a 6-game road trip. Everything was sort of aligning for the Canucks to lose this game. If there was a road game that the Canucks were going to lose, it was going to be this one. However, they went out and survived. A couple of iffy times there, but they got it done. We'll scroll a bit here. Agam saying, are Höglander and Garland our best players? Yeah, I think skill-wise probably not, but I think the way they've played they are, and just effort level and heart. Höglander not on the score sheet tonight, and I don't think he's been on the score sheet a lot. How many points does Höglander have this season? What has he pulled out? He has 3 points in 6 games, all assists. So if you were to just look at the score sheet, you'd be like, Höglander hasn't really done much, right? But every time he is on the ice, he's an absolute difference maker. He is very similar to Connor Garland in that way, where every time they're on the ice, they're causing mayhem, they're winning battles, they're getting people open, they're making good plays. But he just hasn't gotten on the score sheet yet. But he will. He definitely will. He's been excellent. Monotone Cube saying the Canucks are having some serious issues getting the puck out of their zone. It's frustrating to watch. Yeah, it was, and it was stressful. Again, I've always sort of treasured having this pit in my stomach because it means I care, and it's exciting to have that feeling back again, but I don't like it while it's happening. And the sort of the stress, that wraparound, the Appleton breakaway that got through Demko that he pulled off the line where your heart sort of stops. This game could have easily gone the other way. And some might say it should have gone the other way. But, you got to take wins when you can get them, even if you don't 100% deserve them. I do want to see what the expected goals were like. Expected goals were almost even. 2.34 for the Canucks, 2.48 for the Kraken in all situations. 5-on-5, much different story. The Kraken were much higher in that regard, but pretty even game that basically Thatcher Demko carried a lot. Victoria asking, do you think we passed too much on the power play? I don't think they passed too much. I just think they sort of lack a sense of urgency, which kind of leads into them maybe passing too much, but it just feels too casual, and it feels like they're trying to find the perfect thing. And I don't think it's that they're focused a lot on, it's not like they're focusing like, okay, we just got to focus on making passes. It's more so they're trying to get the exact perfect scenario lined up to get a shot on goal. And sometimes you just got to put pucks on net. Marcus giving a shout out to BXO wearing the Bo Horvat socks. Steel Dog saying a couple days of practice and some home cooking. And yeah, this is something that people do note all the time, right? When you do go on these 6-game road trips, there's a lot of travel involved, right? Which takes away practice time. If the Canucks were going to say have a practice yesterday, right, between going from the game in Chicago, they have to fly to Seattle. They have to get some rest. They'd have to practice on the off day. There's just less time to practice. When you're on a homestand, you get a lot more time to practice, right? Because you don't have to commute. You don't have that travel. So yeah, they will get a lot more time to practice, in theory, being at home. Hopefully this road trip has created some good bonding, some good chemistry, and they can build off of that. Justin saying our captain is better than their captain. Yeah, I think 2 years ago you would have been wrong when Giordano literally won the Norris. But I think Giordano's a great player, but he's getting up there in age. And Horvat had an excellent night. Chris DeMarco giving his pluses and minuses. Pluses are Demko, Horvat, Garland. Minuses Pettersson, same as mine. Pretty easy picks there. Overheated Igloo saying, I'm ecstatic we won. I don't think I've ever seen a team play that much worse and still win, though. Yeah, this is an interesting one because, like I said, the Canucks had stretches in this game where they played really bad. And they had stretches in this game where they dominated play. And it's the exact same for the Kraken. So one of the teams had to win this game. Maybe neither of them really deserved it at times, but they'll take it. Let's keep scrolling here. Kai Howard saying, perfect way to end the road trip. But I really questioned some of Travis Green's decisions throughout the game, even though we got the win. Höglander, Bo, Garland, and Demko were amazing. Yeah, this is interesting. I have trouble criticizing coaching, and it's because I see so many people go on Reddit or Twitter and just, talk a lot of smack, be like, oh, you got to fire the coach. You got to fire the coach. The coach should be doing this and that and whatever. And the thing is, the coaches do so much that we don't really see what they do, right? We don't see practice. We don't see what they're saying behind the bench and the reasons that they're going to these line combos. And you can want a coach to be fired for a shakeup because maybe you think a shakeup is going to boost a team and just change for the sake of change. However, I struggle with sort of critiquing coaching and critiquing sort of system because we don't know what each coach is responsible for in each facet of the game. So it's a little bit tricky. What we can criticize is deployment. That's the big thing we see, right? We'll see who is getting put on the ice when and who's getting scratched. And there are reasons to be sort of against what Travis Green's done here, scratching Podkolzin. Some of the lines clearly aren't working. And lots of people will look at, well, Elias Pettersson's not working well with his line mates. Is that a result of coaching? And it's hard, right? You can't tell. Is it just the player isn't playing well? Should he be better motivated by the coach? It's really tough for us to sort of see behind the scenes there. So I sort of struggle with critiquing that there. Time for Hockey saying there's no way Chason plays next game, right? After being taken off the first power play, what is the point? I mean, you say this, but Travis Green is so deep in the, if you don't lose, you don't change anything, which that's one thing I do really disagree with, because I think anytime you have a chance to improve your team, you take it, whether or not it's messing with flow or superstition or whatever. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jason's in the lineup and Podkolzin isn't next game, just based on that. I do wonder maybe a little bit of outside pressure from ownership towards, hey, let's get Podkolzin in the lineup for the home opener, considering these guys are only playing 9-10 minutes anyways. But I don't think Travis Green cares about that all that much. Flaming Storm saying, imagine if we beat the two terrible teams. Could be 5-0-1. I'm not too shaken up about the Detroit game because I think they played well. They got goalied. However, yeah, if they had pulled through in that one, that would have been great. And then obviously the Buffalo game was just a bad showing. And if the Canucks had come out better in that Buffalo game, then yeah, maybe we're talking about a 4-1-1 road trip in which this team is looking dominant, especially when you sort of get the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Wow, my vocabulary is gone. But when you look sort of over at, you see at what Toronto's doing and what Montreal's doing, the contrast between what's going on in the East and these teams just getting crushed. And then you look here and be like, oh, the Canucks are 4-1-1. They're looking great. 3-2-1 is absolutely fine. But yeah, absolutely. They did potentially leave a couple of points out on this road trip, but that'll happen. Lauren wants thoughts on Burrows. I don't think he played a lot. He only played 11.5 minutes tonight. And Rathbone only played 13:53. Again, kind of score effects. Canucks were losing for a good chunk of this game. And they weren't getting any shots. So putting out guys, Travis Green putting out guys that he trusts. But again, I've been impressed with Kyle Burrows. They had a bit of an off night, a -2 tonight for Burrows, -1 for Rathbone. But at the end of the day, they've been really solid. And I don't think any changes get made again, because the Canucks won tonight. Agam saying if we can grab 10 points on the next homestand, that would be an amazing start. So what, the Canucks play 7 games at home here, right? They've got the Wild, the Flyers, the Oilers, the Rangers, the Predators, the Stars, and the Ducks. That's 7 games in a row. They don't play on the road again for about 2.5 weeks. November 11th, they'll be in Colorado. So 7 games, you're saying 10 points. So something like 4-1-2 or 5-2-0 would be what you'd have to do there, or 3-0-4, something along those lines. I think if the Canucks go out there and they get something like 9 points, right? I think you want to win at least 4 of these 7. They do have some tough opponents though. The Flyers are decent. It's the last time you'll see the Flyers this year. The Oilers haven't lost yet. The Rangers are really underperforming. The Predators are fine. The Stars are fine. The Ducks are not great. So yeah, there are points available to be had here. And if the Canucks can go get maybe 9 of them, go like 4-2-1, I think we'd be pretty happy with that. If they can, I think that should be sort of our benchmark. If the Canucks exceed that and they go, 5-1-1 and get, 11 points, or, win 5 or 6 of the games, then we can be ecstatic, and you can sort of build up that little bit of a cushion into, try to settle into a playoff spot and be holding a playoff spot instead of being chasing one for the year. That would be great. However, my hopes aren't super high on that. I think the Canucks just got to be a little bit above 500 on these homestands for sure. Alter H saying Garland did that funny one-hand stick thing again on his last goal. I did notice that. He loves to just push with the top hand and just like have the puck basically between his legs, which is interesting. Chris DeMarco saying Demko should be on the U.S. Olympic team. He's an absolute beast. He's insane. So good. By the way, guys, hit the like button if you're here. I appreciate it. 150 of you guys in here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And again, if you do miss any of it, you can always go back to the beginning and watch it afterwards. These are a lot of things that we already kind of touched on already. Lincoln saying, how do you think OEL is? And then I think he's saying that he's been amazing. I thought OEL was fine tonight. I didn't notice a lot from the defense that was all that negative. One thing you will notice from Oliver Ekman-Larsson tonight, he had 5 shots on goal. That's good. And this is something that was talked about a lot in preseason and training camp, and us looking at Oliver Ekman-Larsson being like, man, he just gets pucks through to the net every time. And no difference here tonight. I thought he was good. Didn't get any points. Was a +2, 2 hits, played almost 25 minutes, 24.5 minutes tonight. But yeah, the 5 shots on goal is great. And I've been, what's the word? I've been pleasantly surprised by Oliver Ekman-Larsson thus far in a Canucks uniform. M. Santos saying, does Green scratch Pedersen if things keep getting worse? No. He's too good. The chances of Pedersen taking Pedersen out of the lineup is risking missing an amazing game from him, right? I think it's just a matter of time. And I don't think he needs any messages to be sent. Pedersen is one of the most competitive players that we've seen, right? We've seen how angry he gets when something goes slightly wrong. He is more, I think he's probably more upset with himself than we are. So I am not worried. I don't think scratching him to like send a message would be that productive. I think it would hurt the team more than anything, just taking an option away. David saying Horvat and Garland look strong in this game, but I feel like Pearson should get some attention as well. I feel like he's back to his 2019-20 self. Tanner Pearson was good. And he was really good actually. He had a one play that I like where he loves to just take shots from like the top of the left faceoff circle, and they always just seem a little bit more powerful than they should be. If we look at his game, 3 shots on goal tonight. He's a +1, 15.5 minutes of ice time. Yeah, I was impressed by Pearson's game as well, and especially last game. Tanner Pearson had an outstanding game that led to the goal that he earned by standing in front of the net for a whole minute. So yeah, I've been impressed with Pearson. Lauren saying faceoffs seemed better tonight. Yeah, Canucks won 61% of faceoffs. You can find out on NHL.com. Dickinson had a rough night in the faceoff circle, 38%. Miller at 63, Horvat 60, Pedersen 67, Lamico at 100. So the Canucks, Canucks did well in the faceoff circle tonight. Ryuzaki saying Matthew Highmore has been better than expected and has done more than Adam Gaudette has. Yeah, that's not really a hot take. That's just right. Matthew Highmore has been a really good fourth liner. He's like Tyler Mott with a little less energy, very similar style. I think Matthew Highmore is like the prototypical good fourth liner, and I've been really impressed. Cango thinks that Podkolzin should play at the home opener for the younger legs. Maybe. I do think, going against the Wild's not like a crazy fast team, I don't think. And they do have a 2-day rest, so I don't think losing your legs should be an issue. But I would like to see him in the lineup for sure. Brian's wondering what a playoff rivalry would ever look like. It would be fun. And I think it would be super interesting just because of the proximity and because of the ability for fans to go into each arena, right? If the border had been open tonight, that crowd would have maybe been, a good chunk of Canucks fans from here with Canucks jerseys, and it would have brought a little bit more animosity and excitement. Obviously, the first game in the arena, it's going to have some excitement. But if there is ever, a playoff rivalry between the Canucks and Kraken, and it's just a 2.5, 3-hour drive between the two arenas, that can be a lot of excitement and a lot of people roaming and going to every game back and forth. That's something I'd want to do. I'd want to go to all the games here, all the games in Seattle, maybe try to get a media pass or something and just go enjoy those because that would be a ton of fun. Patrick saying, should we be nervous for our home and opener on Tuesday? Mini's 4-0. That just sounds to me like they're due to lose, right? They are 4-0. They only have a +4 goal differential. They've won all their games by 1 goal. They beat, that's a preseason game. They beat Anaheim 2-1. They beat LA 3-2. So the two California teams that aren't very good in Anaheim and LA, only beating them by 1. So I wouldn't be too concerned in that part. They then beat the Jets 6-5 in overtime. The Jets have also looked bad, and they just beat Anaheim again 4-3 in overtime. So they have beat pretty bad teams all by 1 goal. They're then going to go play against Nashville, who has also looked terrible to start this season. They play them tomorrow. They're 4-0, but that 4-0 doesn't tell the whole story because they are barely 4-0 against 4 pretty bad teams. And again, it's not like the Canucks have gone up against outstanding opponents yet either. So this might be a good litmus test on Tuesday. See how they stack up against another team who's succeeded against some pretty bad competition. Tuck very enthusiastically saying enough of Chason. Podkolzin needs to be in. Fair enough. Nick saying that Demko is so good tonight. I love him. I think we all love him. Steel Dog, shout out to the Abbey Canucks for their first home win. Yes, absolutely. Abbotsford Canucks getting a home win last night. Madison Bowie with the game winner. That place looked fun. It was only a 50% capacity because in the Fraser Valley, you can't have full stadiums yet. But it looked like a fun environment. So when that arena's full, I was there for a day of training camp, and it's an awesome arena. It's like, I think 7,000 seats. Everything. It's basically, if you were to look at Rogers Arena and you just took away the upper bowl, really awesome arena. And I'm excited to go check out some games there. Hopefully in the near future, for sure. Lots to talk about Elias Pettersson. And everyone's just, kind of speculating. I think I've talked enough about Pettersson tonight. Aisha saying from NHL PR, Garland is the first Canuck to have a point in his first 6 games of his tenure. Thanks, Jimbo. Yeah, and I mentioned that as one of my pluses. Connor Garland points in all 6 games so far. And yeah, he has earned all of them. He has been so good. Leo asking, should we try Höglander on the PK? The kid backchecks hard and has good defensive instincts. He does seem like he would be a good fit, right? I don't hate that idea. My one concern is, if you put someone on the penalty kill, that usually takes ice time away from them elsewhere. Now, here's the thing. Höglander only played 12.5 minutes tonight. I wonder why that is. He had 3 shots and 4 hits in those 12.5 minutes, only a minute of time on the power play. I wouldn't hate it, honestly. I think that's maybe a good take. I do think he really fits in as sort of the vibe you'd want on a penalty kill. A guy who goes out there, tries really hard, throws the body around, wins battles. Winning battles is a huge thing, right? If you can win a battle, get the puck out of the zone, you take 20, 30 seconds off the penalty. So yeah, I think Höglander might be fine on the penalty kill for sure. Going to keep scrolling here. Key N says Burrows led the team with 6 hits in only 11.5 minutes of ice time. Impressive. Yeah, that is impressive. He was a -2, but 6 hits is big. And we're getting close to the end of our questions here. Sonny saying, still feel like we need some more toughness in our bottom 6. I felt at points we were getting bullied out there. I didn't really notice that a lot this game. I thought the Canucks have been fine physically. And I always kind of struggle with the idea of taking skill out to put toughness in. And yeah, the thing is, where are you going to get it from, right? They got rid of Zach McEwen, which I thought was fine because there were so many people in front of him. Zach McEwen just isn't really an NHL player at this point. So putting in a player who's not NHL caliber just for physicality, the league's kind of moved past that. And the same thing with Gadjevich. He wasn't ready for the NHL. You're not going to put in a guy to play 4 minutes a night just for some toughness, right? You need enough people in your lineup to play well. The Canucks have toughness, but they don't have size, right? Guys like Garland, he's tough, but he's not going to go out there and lay people out. Same thing with Höglander. I think JT Miller's got some grit as well. But yeah, the Canucks aren't going to be a super tough team. Whether or not that matters a lot, we're yet to see. We are getting right down to the end here. Time for Hockey saying Garland, Höglander, and Mott all play similarly, except they're all in different stages of evolution. And there's just a big skill difference, right? Connor Garland is just more skilled than Tyler Mott. Niels Höglander is just more skilled than Tyler Mott, but they all are these like super heart players who are just always going at 100% all the time. And then our last one we're going to take here, Key N saying, I lost count of all the reverse hits. It was comical. Yeah, there was a lot of reverse hits. That's been a real theme so far this season. Hey, we saw Quinn Hughes throw the one that he got a penalty for, which I thought was kind of dumb. But yeah, we're seeing them all over the place, which has been very interesting. And we're going to wrap it up there. I think we have 138 people in here. So thank you guys. 148, 136. I don't know. The number keeps changing, but thank you guys all very much for hanging out with me tonight. If you want more of these Canucks post-game shows, they're live after every single Canucks game. You can find me on Twitter at ParkersPucks. Hit the subscribe button. I've got a Discord. I've got a bunch of stuff linked in the description. Just go click all of the links down there. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Our credits, of course, shout out to our backstage members, our backstage member Adam, our GOAT member Lucas, and all of the VIPs who are out there. I saw Justin renewed his VIP. So thank you, Justin. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If you're interested, you can click the join button down below as well. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I will see you after I might have a video come out tomorrow or Monday, but I will definitely see you after the Canucks and Wild home opener on the 26th. Have a good one.